Guru Nation. It is now November 4th, 2025, from an undisclosed location in Arizona and an undisclosed location in California. It's
Mhm.
myself, Dan Sfera, my business
Chris Hubbard,
partner, and lovable co-host,
lovable.
Chris Hopper, sipping on. Hold on, Chris. Don't tell me. Are you giving me the green light right now to drink?
Well, I've been drinking after the market for the last couple of days.
Okay, fair enough. You didn't need to convince me anymore. So let me pour me some little plum brandy.
Yeah,
Right? This is
nice.
shout out to my Eastern Europeans. A little bit of Slivovica. You know we actually have a big audience in Belgrade, right?
We do?
Shout
No, I
out to
did not know
Serbia.
that.
They invited me to go out there, but Max was in the process of being
Who,
born and
who invited you?
actually a private research site in
Really?
Serbia. Yeah. I did a Zoom call with them and everything, but Dora was 8 months pregnant and I couldn't fly over there. And now it's actually a lot harder than I thought being a parent. So shout out to all the parents out there too. That shit. Listen,
More than you anticipated, eh?
if being a dad, we'll get into this. We got an exciting pod, guys. You saw the title already, so we're gonna get to whatever the title says. I got more empathy. So two things. Being a dad does give you more excuses. Like, hey, I'm late. Especially if I like a newborn. Hey, I'm late. Sorry, I'm a dad. Like I've been using that to get by. Not even on purpose. It just happens. Like I'm sorry. I'm a father now. I had to help. My wife was gone. The mother-in-law was gone. Like people get it. They're like, no, no, don't worry. We understand. I don't know how long you can milk that for still, but I assume at some point it has an expiration date for being being a father. I'm guessing when the kid can start going to school, you can't use that excuse anymore. But so far it's been
No,
working.
see, I disagree. I think you can always use it because,
Then parenthood's great. Why didn't I
well,
start earlier?
it will begin pissing people off if you're just constantly always late, right?
hmm
But like an occasional tardiness can be used for this reason,
You know
can be
it's been
blamed on this reason.
it's been crazy for me is I used to like schedule my day like every hour I would have a plan for something else or like calls or I can't really schedule much anymore until we start getting a routine with the kid. It's hard and he's not old enough to really have a routine. So I've just been playing everything by ear, which has meant for me a lot less Zoom calls. I've actually had to say no to a lot of people. Like I used to just say yes to everyone that wanted to talk. I can't do that. Like I could barely schedule a call with you now or Monica or like the people that we actually are business partners with. So it I forced me to prioritize a lot more. But somehow the output's still getting done.
So, but you're in a unique situation, which most people are not in. You have that allowance in which you can self-schedule, right?
Of course, yeah.
Most parents do not. Most
Which is
parents have a
why,
schedule they have to
yeah,
keep.
that's why I'm saying shout out to the parents because I truly don't know how they do it. Especially the single parent, I don't know how.
Mhm.
I don't know how. But it gave me a lot more empathy for the people now, like my employees that are parents. I'm like, no, no, I get it. Before it was just like, what do you mean? Now it's like, no, no, I understand. So it made me more empathetic.
True empathy.
Well, I thought it was true before, but
Oh, wait, or is it sympathy? It's not just sympathy. So which one is the one you
nah,
have?
sympathy is like you feel bad for someone. That's not, I don't feel bad for anyone being a
No,
parent.
isn't one you've experienced it so you can relate to it, and the other one is you have to envision it because you haven't experienced it?
Ah, you're getting deep into this shit. It's not that complicated. I don't know. Empathy covers both, I
Because
think.
you're saying one before
Right. That
you
was like
because you haven't
empathy.
experienced it.
It was empathy in the sense like I hope I'm projecting like that I care, but I don't really understand. But now that I'm experiencing it myself, it's not projecting anything. It's like real. Like I get it. It's real empathy. I guess it's real empathy versus simulated empathy. Like even though it's rooted in good intent, humans are experiencing creatures, so I don't think you can relate to anything unless you've experienced it yourself, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
so that's been the case with me and people that talk about their kids. I can try to simulate, oh, I have dogs, but it's not the same.
Okay, so empathy is when you've actually experienced it. So previously you had sympathy. Now you have
Okay, there
empathy.
you go. Okay, correct.
Sympathy is you haven't experienced it.
Okay. Yeah, but sympathy feels like someone's sick or dying. I don't like that word.
Well,
But
that's
I
I've
get
just
it. I
I
get it.
just Googled it.
It's just the
So
Oxford Dictionary, take it up with them. But yeah, so it's been interesting. But we have, speaking of interesting news and speaking of the act of creation, we have a new book
planned.
we're working on. We
What
started working on it today.
the so Dan's way more optimistic than I am. What do you think the completion date will be?
We have to hand deliver these things at SOS in San Diego.
Kind of what I was thinking too, but that's going to be tight.
Well, tight or loose or in between, you're gonna have to do. I'm telling you, man, well, that's definitely a doable
Yeah, that's
goal.
like what? How far away is that? That's like 5 months.
So first of all, this is not a technical book like our last one. This one
No, I
is
understand, but
harder
it's
to
still
write.
only 5 months away.
We got this, man.
We still have to obviously write it. We still have to edit it. Then we have to create it with Amazon and all.
That's the easy part.
Yeah, kinda and
And I got
kinda
an
not.
idea for the cover, man. So if you're okay with it, this line will be diagonal this time,
Hmm.
and it'll be colors as well. But obviously not red and blue. Would you go for purple and gold?
I was close to that. I was thinking gold and black.
Steelers? You want to go
No,
Steelers?
has nothing to do with football or
No, no, I know,
baseball.
but I can't. I'm a sports guy. I can't think of that without sports.
So gold is success, black is kind of not.
How about purple and gold? We're gonna
Hmm.
work on it, guys. I'm gonna
It's
talk to
two
Chris.
Lakers, but it doesn't match my car.
Right. Okay, there you go. See, now I know where to sell it. It's because this is Clippers, for those that don't know. This was inspired by the Clippers. My favorite team at the time, well, my current favorite team is the Lakers again, because they
And
got
I
Luca.
and I could care less about the colors at the time.
There you go. So looking like purple and gold, but maybe not. But you like the idea of the diagonal this time?
Yeah, you kind of have the same but different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the book is gonna be, you want to explain it?
No, go ahead.
Well, thanks.
Oh, was that a suggestion? Not being nice and giving me the opportunity?
Yeah, that was
That was a
sympathy.
suggestion.
Sympathy, thinking that you would
Okay,
take it over.
so, okay, well, I'll take over then. So we're writing a book on it's two topics. The first half will be in regards to who in general would make a good business owner, right? Who has the makeup to consider starting their own business?
Hmm.
So that's the initial first half of the book, give or take. Maybe it's 40%, maybe it's 70, who knows? We'll see. And then the last half will be specific to clinical research.
Yeah,
So,
specific to how we did it, specific with our own companies as well.
mhm.
Like almost a playbook if you want. I don't think we'll go in that detail, but it'll get close. At least the part I'm gonna write. And the book starts general overview entrepreneurship, the five virtues that are must have. There's probably more, but I think we condense it to five that we
Well, we're
can live
starting
with.
with five.
We're starting with
We
five.
may have more.
These are the five non-negotiables, and it doesn't mean that if you don't have any of these, you're not going to succeed, but you should really try to work on all to have them all.
Or if you're poorly positioned on any of those topics, you should probably work on yourself to improve in those areas.
Correct. So the first one, we'll just go through the first five, and the second quarter of the book is going to be how various personality types, because this is where everyone's different, Me and Chris
Mhm.
are very different. Me and Monica, a little closer, but still very different. Me and Ashley, there's so many personality types out there. There's like 30 in one scale, or 4 times 416 in one. Chris was looking at one with 20. We're both gonna write about each of those. Like Chris gonna pick the ones that he's going with. I'm going with my 16. How any of those variables it doesn't matter which one you have, you can still work on getting these 5 virtues down. And then the second half of the book is more in depth, like how we did it in clinical research, maybe a dozen or so businesses. I'll even throw in some of my real estate stuff. You can too if you want. Airbnb, long-term rentals, stock trading or stock investing. Um, because I think they all apply as well to this. I think it applies even to, I know I'm looking at this list now. Stock trading, it applies, not day trading, but like actually swing trading stocks. And then real estate, this applies as well.
Well, certainly a lot of the attributes do, for
Yeah.
certain. I don't know about all, but obviously
Well,
many
some
do.
matter more than others in different businesses, but I think if you have these 5, we both think if you have these 5 non-negotiables, virtues, you'll do well in anything you choose in entrepreneurship world. So the first one is pain tolerance.
Mhm.
We're just in this pod, we'll go through these 5 and just kind of give our thoughts on it. Just a little sneak peek for the book, guys.
Mhm.
And you can tie it into clinical research too if you want. So pain tolerance, Chris, that one was you brought it up.
Mhm. So,
Have at it, man.
so when I thought of this, I thought of, honestly, I thought of my mother. She could never own a business because of this specific category. Just could. Because if she loses a dime, she's concerned about it, right?
Mm.
Like she can't sleep that night. I'm exaggerating for effect, but the point is if you're overly concerned about risk, and that's not really a risk, but if you're overly concerned about money and risk, then you're probably not set up
Pain
to start
tolerance.
a business because
Do you think
there,
there's something there about the scarcity mindset?
I guess, possibly, yeah.
I'm just saying that because you said, I know you're joking, but if you lose a dime, or if she loses a dime, she can't sleep.
Hmm.
I know people like that too. I always attribute that to scarcity mindset. It's because they don't have, and they don't know how to get more, so they're just scared to lose what they have.
That certainly could be an aspect, but why I didn't fully endorse that was because that's not really, though, exactly what I'm thinking in terms of a business owner. It's just there's a lot of people that can't, maybe they invest in a 401 or their IRA or whatever, but they can't look at it because if it's done poorly, it just ruins them for days, right?
Yeah.
Opposed to, yeah, it bothers me, but I'll deal, right?
Okay. So when you say pain tolerance, try to articulate exactly what you mean.
So again, if you are highly opposed to risk, because starting a new business is very
Gotcha.
risky, only 20% succeed,
After five
right?
years, right?
No, 2 years.
Oh, 2 years.
80% fail in the first 2 years.
Okay.
So you cannot be risk adverse because you're more than likely going to fail. Um,
And we
and
see
if
that in the new site owners too.
we do, and if
We are the perfect people to write this book. I just thought about it. We
if
deal with
it
hundreds of clients.
we do, and we see this often. If that's going to ruin your life to start a business and fail, you're just better off not starting it, right? Like, is this going to give you nightmares for the rest of your life? Which some people, depending on the way they're designed, it
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
It would.
So are you saying when pain tolerance, you almost need to be like sadistic? Because you
Hmm.
know that pain is coming. As soon as you decide,
You have
I'm
to be
going to
able to
start a
handle
business.
pain. You
Right.
have to be able to handle, not sadistic. I don't like pain. But the thing is, I guess the best way to look at this, and you love sports analogies, would be coaches always tell quarterbacks, specifically professional quarterbacks, you have to have a very short-term memory. You throw an interception,
Mhm.
you got to remember the next time you're out there, it never happened. It just didn't happen. So it bothers them for a short while, and then they move on.
I actually have literally and figuratively a bad short-term memory. So I think I'm good at that one.
So and see, this is where you and I differ because I know you're better at this than I, but I can deal with pain too. It bothers me longer than you, but I still get over it relatively quickly.
Who's, yeah, I would say you're the more rational one. I'm the more insane one in that category.
Like
Because
pain,
it's natural to have a low pain tolerance. It protects you, right? Like from a evolutionary perspective,
yeah,
having a low pain tolerance means I
get away
might
from
not
that
get,
danger.
yeah, I'm less likely to get killed by a dinosaur because I'm just
Yeah.
gonna chill like
Or
closer
or
to my
eaten by
cave.
that crocodile or yeah.
Yep, yep. But if you want to experience the better food, you gotta go a little further out, and then there might be some dinosaurs, some crocodile,
Yeah,
but it's
sure.
worth it if you can get there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in that respect, like people who do have a lower pain tolerance, they're actually more quote unquote norm. But Grant Cardone said this best. I'm not a necessarily Grant Cardone fan, but he said if you want normal things, if you want normal results, you're gonna be do normal things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
So
think that applies here.
at the same time though, I would say it's also working against you if you have no pain tolerance, because I think you're more likely to make poor decisions.
Oh yeah. You're more likely to reach into that alligator's mouth
Yeah.
when it's open.
Let me stick my head in there and get that so I can see what I'm grabbing at.
Right. But you can't be, most people though don't have that
No, there are
extreme. They
people
have the
that do
lower
though.
side.
Yeah, there are people that do though.
Correct.
They,
But normal people
right.
have, let's be very conservative, let's be very safe. If you fly too high, what was Icarus? Fly too high. The quote from the Greek mythology, if you fly, don't fly too high lest you get burned by the sun.
Mhm. I
The
don't know if
Greeks
that's
knew this
exactly
too.
right, but that's close.
But what people forget from that same story, they also said don't fly so low that the water weighs down your wings and brings you down.
Hmm.
That's the part
So,
people forget. Why?
yeah, and
Because most
I was just
people,
gonna say I don't recall that part.
yep, exactly. People forget that part
Yeah.
because most people need help with the don't fly too high because that's conventional wisdom. Don't fly too high. You don't want to do that. But
Sure.
they forget the second part too. Don't fly so low the water weighs down your wings.
Mhm. Makes sense.
Yeah, but most people need the former, not
Mhm.
the latter.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the food we eat today, you can think a caveman, a risky caveman. There's going back to your analogy,
Yeah. Well, can you imagine the explorers or like the first people like you land on an island, you have to like test the food?
or I'm sure what they did was watch other animals too. They eat it. And there was a lot of people that tried eating grass and said, "No, the animals can eat that. I can't eat that."
Yeah, they probably fed it to some animals.
Yeah. The animals eat it?
Clinical trials.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. Makes sense.
Well, PETA is not going to support this book, but it's okay. So anything left else on pain tolerance? I think that's a really good section, man. That Icarus quote has to make it.
All right, that's all you.
All right. Oh yeah, we're both writing both sections.
Yeah.
Anything else? Pain tolerance, pain tolerance. I think it's never been one that I had to worry about as much. When I was younger, I had very little, or when I was younger, I didn't worry too much because I was young. I was like, well, I'm still not sure what I want to do. So even if I lose on this venture,
And you still had a fallback position, your parents. I don't know
correct.
how far back you're going.
Well, yeah, I did. Um, and then as you get older, you get, see, but a lot of people when they get older, I guess this is for the book for the personality types,
Well,
or this is maybe for the third virtue,
they get
money
set in their
agnostic.
older people get set in their ways too.
Yes, but a lot of people, well, we'll save that for the money agnostic part. All right, the second virtue, unless you want to add more to that first one.
No, I think that's plenty of detail.
It's enough to get started. This,
We don't want to just vocalize the entire book here, but go ahead.
that's impossible. Let's save that for the audiobook, man. You know
All
we got
right.
to record that one. This time it's Daniel Rodriguez gonna do it.
Well, that means I got to drive out to Yuma.
Probably. I have Airbnb though.
Yeah.
Okay, the second virtue, grit. This one is the one I picked, and this one kind of encompasses number one and number five, which is we'll get to number five later, but this encompasses a little bit of pain tolerance, but it's different. And there's a book by Angela Duckworth who wrote this book called Grit. And it's basically being willing to eat dirt for a long time, being humble, not getting ahead of your skis, and just being willing to do the dirty work. And I think, and I know when we talk to a lot of clients, you talk to way more clients than I do.
I was thinking of a client specifically when you were saying that. Go ahead.
Yes, there is a value in doing the dirty work yourself from the beginning, even if you
Well,
have the money.
I would take it a step further. It's not getting frustrated that you don't have immediate results. You're not seeing immediate results. I can't think of what I know what I want to say, but I can't think of how to say it. This immediate gratification or self-assurance that this is going well, it's working. You have to be able to withstand that not happening.
Right.
You have to be able to keep going, even though maybe
Yes.
it doesn't work immediately.
Absolutely. Duckworth, who wrote this book, I recommend everyone read it. When we write our book, we'll have recommended readings and references. I'll put this one in there.
Dan will, I won't.
Okay, yeah, I will. Unless you have something, I'll throw it in there too, man.
Well, it depends on how we organize the book. Or if we
Yeah.
organize it individually,
You'll
then
have
it'll be your
links and
section.
stuff. You'll have links.
But if it's all combined, they will have no clue where this stuff is coming from.
So the book Grit by Duckworth, Angela Duckworth, her core thesis is, and she's basically she's done research on and studies. She's done studies on cadets at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, National Spelling Bee contestants, and teachers in high turnover schools. She basically has done research on those cohorts and found that all the successful ones have what she calls grit, which is basically a combination of two components, passion, which is a consistency of interest. So this is what you said, maintaining a sustained focused interest in a similar set of goals over a long period of time. So years, not months. And then perseverance. So working hard and showing diligence and resilience despite challenges, setbacks, or difficulties. And then grit, according to her, which I agree with, is a significant predictor of success in various settings, often better than talent, IQ, or standardized test scores. And she summarizes the relationship between talent, effort, and skill and achievement with two key equations. She has a talent times effort equals skill, and a skill times effort equals achievement. And crucially, effort counts twice in this model. So it makes grit, which is the sustained application of effort and passion, essential. And that's what the second virtue, in my opinion, is going to be about.
So, to that model, I think I don't know if it's an extra category or it's a summarization, but I would say there's just some people that don't accept failure, right? So they apply, they refocus, they look at what they're doing and what needs to be changed. Why is this not working? Things like that, right? They just don't accept failure.
Right, right. Not so like the quote that I like is when I hear no, I think not that way.
Hmm.
I don't think no. I
Hmm.
think not that way. Now, if it's still worth it for me to pursue and find a solution, I will.
Hmm.
And that's where some of the other virtues that we have come in. But this is where the things that seem like fluff, like passion. I mean, it seems like virtue signaling type of a thing, but attributes directly to this, where its grit is not accepting no. Now, your passion's gonna determine if it's worth it for you to not accept no. If you don't have enough passion, at some point you will accept no.
Hmm.
If it's your life's duty, you're not gonna accept no. But if it's something that's I'm just here for the money, or I heard it was easy,
Hmm.
you
I
know,
can't
that's
tell
not
you,
passion.
I cannot tell you how many clients are that way.
Well, they don't have passion, man.
Well, they had a different vision on how things would work, which is what we're talking about in one of the future categories you're about to bring up.
Hmm.
Money agnostic. You
That's
can't
next, yeah.
you can't go in thinking, hey, money's right around the corner.
Well, let's get
The,
into that one next.
it
Money agnostic.
may not be right around the corner.
But what do you think
Eh,
of Duckworth's grit?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And money agnostic ties greatly into grid.
yes. But this is where, and I used to be this way a little bit longer than a decade ago. Whenever I heard that follow your passion, to me it was always a red flag for bullshit, which it can because it's used a lot by many people that way. But if you use it with Angela Duckworth's equation and the not taking no for an answer, your degree of willingness to not take no for an answer is grit. And you're not going to have a higher degree if you don't have passion for whatever it is you're trying to solve.
I don't necessarily agree with that last half.
Go ahead.
I'm not passionate about many things. Very few things, in fact,
But you're passionate about macro things that are those are related to.
potentially. I just have a mindset if I'm going to start something, I finish it.
So then your
It's not
passion,
passion per se. It's not an emotional attachment to
well, your
this.
passion then is intrinsic goals for yourself. You're very
Is
passionate
that a
about that.
passion?
It borders on virtue.
Virtue, I agree. Passion, I don't.
Tomato, tomato. The degree of your passion is whether it's virtue or virtue signaling.
No, it's not signaling. I can give a shit less about that stuff.
There you go. Then Angela
It's
Duckworth
just
would agree with you.
it's important to me to finish what I started.
That's passion
Mm,
for you.
I don't agree with that, but okay, it's fair enough.
Fair enough, man. We'll hash it out in the book. We'll hash that one out on the audio book.
There you go.
All right, money agnostic.
Yeah, so you can't get into this thinking there's immediate success around the corner. Any business, you cannot do that.
I go
You're
a
setting
step
yourself up
further.
failure if you do that, in my opinion.
I go a step further. There's actually easier industries than research to make money. You, this is where passion comes in again. You don't do it because of the money, but you also don't do it without having a plan to make money. You have to have proof somehow that there is financial reward. We live in a capitalistic society where that is the report card. Like money is the report card for any
Hmm.
business.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if money is your report card, it's telling you how good you're executing on your
Yeah, I
plan.
mean it's very true.
But you don't do it for the money. But it's inherently implied that if you do your plan well, the money's there. You just have to prove that it's potentially there.
So
And you do that with emulating others. If anyone else that looks like you did it, then it's there.
don't get into something that you're passionate about if there is no money somewhere along the way. But don't specifically do it just for the money.
Correct.
Is to summarize what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yes. You have to
You
have a
bet.
proof of concept somehow, whether it's someone else. A lot of people use us as a proof of concept for their sites.
Mhm,
Well, Dan does it in Yuma. Like, why can't I do it here? Or
mhm,
Chris does it, for 2 decades. Like, that's fine. That's a proof of concept that it works. Now, if you're starting a brand new business like no one's ever done it, maybe there's a reason that no one's ever done it, and that's where you gotta do your homework beforehand
mhm.
and
That doesn't
figure
mean you
out.
shouldn't do it. That
Doesn't mean you
doesn't
shouldn't do it. Look at
the per
SpaceX with
or
Elon.
make it a simple example. The person that put fluoride in toothpaste, or even just invented toothpaste in general,
Yeah, just don't
or
tell our Robert Kennedy about that one.
no one did it prior,
Right.
right? So the first person to invent something usually is quite successful.
Yes, and they're even more on the entrepreneurial scale. Those people, the Elon Musks of the world, the Leonardo da Vinci's of the world, the who else? Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs. Those dudes that have done this without a proof of concept,
Hmm.
they're rock solid on all these things.
Hmm.
Rock solid. Even if there's people where hundreds of people have shown proof of concept and they're still not rock solid on some of these virtues. Imagine being an N of one. No one's created a Amazon.com. There's not even an idea. People think you're crazy. And you're gonna go and do that. They're not doing it. None of those guys did it for the money necessarily. They did it because they knew that was their passion. They knew that was gonna be. There's no proof of concept, but they knew they would be the proof of concept.
Hmm.
And all those dudes had grit. And I would think all those dudes were money agnostic as
Oh
well.
yeah, is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
So he sold PayPal. He received 250 million for his share of PayPal. You know the story,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
and then he invested one half into Tesla and one half into SpaceX. I don't remember the other company.
Yeah.
I think it was SpaceX.
SpaceX and Tesla.
Right.
And I don't know if Solar City had like some percentage of
Well,
a third one.
he had to invest he invested every dime of that 250 million in those two companies. And he had to live on other people's couches for like 3 months because he didn't have enough
Yeah.
money to pay for rent
He had
someplace.
to borrow money. Exactly.
He just had a quarter of a billion, and this was
Yeah.
20 years ago or 10 years ago. No, 15 years ago. And this man had the vision and
Yeah.
money agnostic, obviously, because he had to borrow somebody's couch to have a place to sleep
Yeah. Yeah.
when he was just worth a quarter billion.
And those are the two types of businesses basically. And the two types of entrepreneurs is, do you have a proof of concept to follow, like to prove your thesis is correct, or do you not? Like in
Boy.
Yuma, Arizona, where I live, there's never been a research done here, but I've had plenty of proof of concept from other places in the country and my own experiences too. So it wasn't
Mhm.
that big of a leap to think, oh, well, it's gonna work there too. But to start a Tesla or a SpaceX from nothing, there's no your only proof of concept is really NASA, which is a government agency. Like that's not really a proof of concept. So, money agnostic is definitely the case. I think it's a extremely important virtue to have. Not that you don't want money, but
Well,
treat money as the report card for how you're doing.
in Elon's example, I certainly would have put 10 million aside. Just saying.
Yeah, that would have been the smart thing to do. The normal thing to do.
Right. He's a little bit beyond normal. So,
In more ways than one.
yeah.
Um, and I thought it was hilarious when he went on the All In podcast after all the Doge stuff was over and he effectively quit. And they said, "What's your biggest takeaway from your time in the government?" And he said, he paused like he does for like 20 seconds. And then he answered, "The government's unfixable."
Yeah.
And I mean, for it.
He said that recently on Joe Rogan too. He was
Yeah,
on Joe Rogan a few days ago and said the same thing.
yeah. Uh, His biography by Walter Isaacson's amazing, and that was before all the government stuff.
All the political stuff.
Yeah, you could write a second bio on him. Okay, so money agnostic. Don't do it for the money, but it doesn't mean you're not wanting financial rewards. It just means that you should have a bigger North Star than money, a higher North Star, in my opinion.
Yeah, our topics will be a slight bit different on
That's
that.
good. The people want both. They want
Sure,
everything in there.
sure.
Well, what's your take on that then? So money can be your North Star?
No, I wouldn't say you're North Star. I think you're getting into it and you're going to be crushed when it doesn't happen because again, only 20% succeed.
Hmm.
But I think that is part of the equation, which you already alluded to as well. I don't think anybody should get into a business without expecting some return. Otherwise, how do you support yourself?
Of
So I think
course.
money's part of the equation. It doesn't necessarily have to be an entirety of the equation, but I think it's an important, crucial aspect of the equation.
Money for money's sake, I think Musk is a good example of this. He doesn't have to
Uh,
do any of the stuff he does.
yeah, he's just abnormal.
He wants to die on Mars. He wants to see robots. He
Sure.
wants to have a hand in that stuff. It's not about money for him. I mean, it's never has been.
He wants to bring on the Terminator. I get
Yeah.
it.
Next one, number four of the five non-negotiables in our opinion, vision. This kind of related to the proof of concept.
Okay.
Um, you want to start with this one or?
Sure. I mean, it's relatively simple to explain. You have to have a vision of what you see and how you can outline success.
Hmm.
Now, it can be proof of concept, as Dan just mentioned, or you could be going down the Elon road, right? Where this has never been done before, but I'm fulfilling a role that is necessary to many, if not all people.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have to have the vision, and it goes a little beyond that. You
Goes beyond.
especially if it's something new, you have to have a roadmap how to get there because there is no proof of concept.
Or if there is a proof of concept and you're just replicating something that exists, but in a different market or in a slightly different way, why will yours be successful? Like, what's your thesis? And that's where you
Mhm,
need a vision to
mhm,
understand what's your thesis.
mhm. Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, this is where passion comes in again, I think, because I've done real estate work, like as a realtor. The people in that industry, for the most part, man, none of them are money agnostic. Very few are money agnostic. Very few, like all this stuff we went through, they're like violating all of it. The majority of those realtors.
All of it, huh?
I know because I've done it. I know I could do very well as a realtor, like very well, probably better than site owner. So why don't you do it, Dan? Well, I don't see a future for that industry. And we have a good friend who's a realtor. I tell him this a lot. If I would only do it to build tech for the future, like I wouldn't do it just for the money. I don't think it's something that's sustainable. I actually don't see much value in what they do. We gotta apologize to the realtors that read this book. Do you do you know what I mean? Like I don't
I
actually
do, I do.
see I wouldn't feel necessarily good about what I'm doing. I would ultimately just get in there, build a team, and then help my teammates or the ones that work for me build the career they want to see. It would ultimately lead into tech, which is what we're doing here with Patient Ace and stuff like that. I don't see the vision for a career trajectory of a realtor that is true to being a realtor.
So I'm curious
Yeah.
because I'm
So lack of vision, that's why I don't do it.
I'm putting myself into your shoes in the sense of thinking about this how you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, and let me finish before you interject.
Yeah.
Um, the reason you don't see yourself as a realtor is because I assume you you could see this being easily. replicated or even replaced by AI or robots or
Yeah.
just some person just sits there and rubber stamps everything, opposed to where your expertise is needed in clinical research. So if
Mhm.
that time came in clinical research in which the same thing can happen,
Yep.
you would want out. You'd be done with clinical research.
I'm gonna write about that in the second half of the book because I've done podcasts on this.
Okay.
I
Well,
think
I
we
haven't
got
seen the
10 years.
podcast, so I got a good guess on my
I
part.
think we have 10 years as site owners until we're like realtors essentially.
Yeah.
And it's not just AI that I'm afraid of. And it's not even fear.
Mhm.
It's the inefficiencies are so gross in that industry, realtors. Like, it doesn't have to be. The only reason it's that way is because that's the establishment. That is a ripe, that is like ripe for the picking for any tech. If it wasn't AI, it would be private equity just consolidating a bunch of real estate agencies. It just happens that AI is going to get there first.
So AI, and the advantage here is you don't have to pay a person, and instead of having to outlay 6% plus expenses for
It's
a real estate
ridiculous,
purchase,
ridiculous.
it'll go down to 0.5% or 1% in
Yeah,
order
it's
to legal,
basically deflationary force. Tech
you
is a
know.
deflationary force. The middlemen are going to be out in everything. Are sites still middlemen? Much less middlemen than realtors.
But
But
they
at some
are.
point, they're middlemen still.
Mhm.
That's why I don't do realtor stuff. Even though it's an easier thing to do than clinical research. I don't have long-term vision. I wouldn't have the passion to do that day in and day out because I know I would eventually have, like, I'm kind of being a little
Because the
confident by
dead
saying
the dead end's coming.
the dead end's
You can see
coming.
it.
I could see it, but, and maybe I'm overly confident and thinking like how good I would be. But I know as soon as I would have a few setbacks, I don't think I would have that grit equation.
The maintenance continue.
Yeah, because essentially you have to fool yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
okay, I'm gonna do this because, but then you're just chasing money.
mhm.
And I don't really like that. I don't like chasing money for money's sake. If there's a value add for what I'm doing, I'm okay with it. If there's not re a real value add, I'm not
So,
okay. I have, it's like a bad feeling. It's not guilt, but it's a bad feeling.
and I guess I agree with you in a roundabout way because, like, for example, I like playing poker. Um,
Okay. Yeah, you're a
and
professional.
but no, but I like playing poker.
Yeah.
And thankfully it became legal here in California to play online again. So I've been doing that here and there.
Ah,
And
the People's Republic of California loves
yeah,
this.
yes. And so it's funny because I'm not doing it. I mean, yeah, I think about the money. I guess this is a good way to compare what we're discussing to something I do. I do it partially for the money because if there were no reward, I wouldn't do it, right?
Right.
I've never played free poker. I don't like it because there's nothing on the line and no one takes it seriously.
Mm.
I do it for the competitiveness. I
There you
like,
go.
I do it because I like competing. I'm not doing
There
it for
you
the
go.
money, though I wouldn't do it if it were free. Because
So
there
that's
needs to be
your
something on the line for everybody to compete as though it means something to them.
so that's your one of your passions is competitiveness.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it otherwise.
I'm with you. Same
Right.
reason why I would never own a franchise.
Yeah.
I like to be the visionary of doing what I want to do, trying new things. If it fails, just change quickly. And when you're a franchise owner, they literally restrict you from doing a bunch of shit you want. You're essentially an employee that's disguised as a business owner, and you're just following the protocol from these franchisors. So
Yeah.
I don't have the vision. Like that's someone else's vision. I don't want to work on someone else's vision. I want to work on my vision, even if I make less. And that's where it's like I'm money agnostic in that sense.
Sure.
That's me. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong.
No, I'm not playing when I play poker, I'm not playing high stakes. I don't know if that's money agnostic or I just can't afford to lose that kind of money, so I don't do it. But
You found your pain tolerance, I think.
okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And the last one from the five we have so far.
I'm going to call it there, right? Because I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you want to take a pause?
Not too much TMI for everyone. No, are we going to do the other half of the book?
Oh, no, no, we're just calling it at this fifth one. It's a
Okay.
30-minute pod.
Okay. We're good then. Let's
Okay.
continue with the fifth one.
Chris will have to pee, but that's later,
As
guys.
soon as we end here.
We'll keep it recording to hear it and then to confirm.
Thanks. Sure.
Uh, Adaptability. That's the fifth. And
So because it didn't work well, should you just give up? Because you're not succeeding. Just
mhm,
give up now? Just call it quits? Didn't
that's
work,
what
I'm
it
done.
is. And it's very much related to grit, but where grit ends, this picks up because
Mhm.
grit tells you like talent times effort equals skill, skill times effort equals achievement. But adaptability is like, well, okay, if it didn't work that way, how do I find a different way that works? And this is
Mhm.
where you kind of need creativity, and you definitely need your favorite word, passion. I mean, you have to love pain a little because you
Mhm.
know you're going to have to adapt no matter how idealistic of a business plan and how rigid it is. It's not going to be how it is. Like Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
Facts.
And so what do you do after you get punched in the mouth? You could get knocked down, take a knee,
Once I stop crying,
take a knee or figure out another way, you know? And that whole part of figuring out another way, I actually enjoy it. And this is another reason why I wouldn't be a realtor. I think there's not too many ways. And ultimately, it boils down to do you service your client or do you service yourself?
I think the only adaptability you have personally
Mhm.
in real estate as a real estate agent would be a chameleon, right? That's the only adaptability you have. Know your clientele and be able to adjust to the personality traits they associate with. That would be the
Sure,
only
sure,
adaptability
sure.
because
But
there's
it,
laws and everything else you have to follow, as well as, I want to see house X. Well, what are we going to do? We'll show them house A. They don't want to see that. They want to see house X, right? Well, I guess you could force them thinking this is a better one, but you would have to
right,
convince them,
right.
not force them.
Yes. But when you're a middleman and there's all you're doing is siphoning value in between the two end stakeholders. And technology comes in and says, well, I can do it faster and cheaper.
Cheaper,
The only weapon you have to adapt is to get cheaper. Like you can get creative and be like, well, I only work with high-end people and they want, to go to get their massage and they want, I mean, I guess you can get creative to some extent, but what the core service actually entails, you're kind of adapting into a different vertical than what your core service entails. In clinical research, we still have room to adapt within creative limits until you start seeing mass consolidation, which I think is coming 10, 15 years, mainly because we're the ones that have access to the patients. But adaptability is going to be critical. Like, what do you do when your PI quits or doesn't want to do research? Like,
So I think there's a second component to research and as well in real estate. I think it's both just personal touch because there is no personal touch with AI. Now,
mm,
you could do kind of a mass thing where there's one or two people who are just dealing with all these people and having all the other aspects that are time consuming dealt with by AI. That's a possibility. But in terms of research, specifically because of patient recruitment, it would be difficult to replace that with AI, I think, because most people are not going to feel comfortable not speaking to a person. I don't think. So I
I,
think that's
well,
also another aspect.
I do think the person will never get out of there. It's just a matter of what is the business model for that person.
Mhm.
If the arbitrage has always been that person's going to take the majority of it for handling the service. And
Mhm.
now some technologies handling the majority of it, but the human element will let the humans do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the arb is not really there anymore. That becomes a labored expense.
But I think to this right today, I think sponsors they're not necessarily paying. I mean, they do, but they're not necessarily paying for the work. They're really paying for that interpersonal relationship a doctor or an individual has with the patient because they
Yeah,
need the patients.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're
Right
paying for
now.
work, but really what they're paying for is that interpersonal relationship.
Well, let's see when the consolidation happens and there's a huge base of patients that could just be recycled.
Yeah,
But
that should
it's
happen.
so big that the recycling aspect's not really a negative.
I mean, if that does actually happen, yeah, they won't need doctors or any other individuals really.
They'll need them for the liability purposes, the doctors and the
Maybe.
other individuals for the small hand holding stuff, which is just labored out. But
That'll
if you
eventually
own,
get rewritten too, I think.
sure, but if you own a medical practice, you're gonna have a receptionist because that's a human person to welcome patients, but they're not getting much of the ARP.
No, and they could
That's a
end that.
labored out
It,
cost.
it could, like Smith says, Dr. Smith,
Yeah.
that could very well be a few years around.
Yep.
It could be a few years away where it's MAs walking around with a tablet and taking all their information from the patients, and then the AI is
Yeah.
just telling them,
Yeah.
hey, this is what they have, this is what you give them, and that's the end of it.
You got to be adaptable. But when that world comes, which we're already starting to dip our toes into it, there's going to be other issues that creates
Sure.
because there's no completely efficient system. And those issues, those inefficiencies, those pain points, you're going to hear from patients, different feedback. Those pain points where there's opportunity to create improvement and create value are going to be the adaptability gaps. And that's where more entrepreneurs are going to should jump in until that's figured out and consolidated. And then that creates more problems and on and on and on, ad infinitum. That's it.
Sure.
Ad
Sure.
infinitum. I think it's going to be a good book, man.
Yeah, you seem excited.
If you guys have suggestions for the title, let us know. I don't know really anything other than high five keeps sticking out to me. Give me a high five, something like that. It's not gonna be that cheesy, but thinking like along those lines. And then the subtitle, just like this one. The Comprehensive Guide to Clinical Research. A lot easier to come up with a title because it's technical, but then
I'm
the little
let
subtitle.
I'm letting you know right now we're switching positions of our names
Okay, for this one, Chris Sabra will be here, Dan Sfer will be here.
because I seriously get like 5% of people say, just you wrote the book. And I say, but my name's on there too.
And I have a lot of people say, be honest, Chris wrote the whole book, you just put your name on it.
No, you do not.
I
You're so
do.
lying.
No, I swear to God.
Oh, well, that's not truthful either. I didn't write. Dan wrote more than
Diagonal.
I did.
It'll be diagonal.
This one will probably write equal, but that one Dan wrote more than I did. I did way more editing than Dan. He didn't do any.
And then Eileen, shout out to her.
Yeah,
Yeah, the editing sucked.
I edited it twice, and then she did it a third time to review my
Now we have
editing.
AI to edit, so I think this will be fine.
Mhm.
We might give it to Eileen for all time's sakes.
She'd
I
appreciate
think
it.
she's retired now and looking for like
Some
part-time gigs
extra
like that.
cash.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I'll try to find the same person that did that cover for the new one. I was happy with them.
Mhm.
And that's it. We just got to update our pictures on the back because,
Yeah, I've lost a bit more hair.
well, you lost more hair and I don't know. I look older.
You lost weight too, though.
Well, thank you.
You're
So
thinner
that's
now.
it. That's it. That's the book. Well, that's the first quarter of the book, more or less. Thinking out loud.
Yep.
We'll formulate our thoughts a lot better, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We'll include various personality types and how they can aspire to these virtues. And then we'll get into the clinical research businesses that we've done and how we've certain examples of how we've
How
use
it's
these
all,
virtues to
how it's
master.
all applicable.
Yep. Like, and how we would think about future businesses. And even I'll throw in some stuff from other industries, like I said, real estate, a little bit of stocks here and there, some crypto, same thing. Same
Dan gonna
thing.
go all, Dan gonna play the whole field.
No, stocks and crypto are the same concept.
Okay.
Like, subscribe, comment, share. Go follow Chris on LinkedIn. He has one now.
Oh, yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.